Season 2 of Chaos Theory is now playing on Netflix, and I'm sure most, if not all of you, have watched every episode from Season 2 and uncovered the identity of the broker, what Brooklyn has been up to, and where the Nublar 5 ended up on that cargo ship. This action-packed season has been very well received among fans, and if you like diving into the details and learning even more about this show, then be sure to check out our other Chaos Theory videos. You can find them on our channel and in our Chaos Theory playlist. But in this video, we're going to hear directly from the voice actors behind Brooklyn and Darius. That's right, our very own Caleb and Jayden got to speak directly with Kiersten Kelly and Paul-Mikél Williams about their roles in the show, about Season 2, and a potential tease for what comes next. Welcome back to Jurassic Outpost. Let's waste no time and get into the interview.
We are so fortunate to be joined by Paul-Mikél Williams and Kiersten Kelly to talk all things Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Paul, Kiersten, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Paul,
We're great.
Yeah.
Right off the heels
All
of season 2, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to ask you both is, where would you say your connection to Jurassic Park and Jurassic World started? And where is it now after being part of an amazing series of Jurassic adventures?
So my connection with Jurassic was I feel like I've told this story like a million times, but I was actually scared of Jurassic Park when it first came out. Um and so, when I was younger, I was like, oh, those big dinosaurs, and like I had a big fear of the dark and stuff like that. And like, the movie, like a part of the movie takes place at night. So I was like, okay, let me hold off on this. I was maybe like 5 or 6 when I first started watching it. And after that, I came back to it after like 4 or 5 years. I was like, okay, I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. This is starting to be intriguing. Started looking up like random, dinosaur facts and stuff like that. Started falling into the hole, and then Jurassic World came out, and I was super excited about it. And I probably rented that movie so many times on demand or whatever it was, and ever since then, I've loved the series, everything that the people put out, Colin and Michael's book was just amazing. Like it was so overwhelming to me. And then, when I got, when I got called out for Camp Cretaceous, I was like, oh, because at first we didn't exactly know what it was because it was under code names and stuff like that. And we just knew it was about like dinosaurs and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay, this looks like a cool audition. And so I went out for it, and then I think it was a while before I got the call back. I think it was like 5 or 6 months. And then I went in for the callback, and a month later they said that, we were working on Chomp, quote unquote. So, yeah, after, the first episode was when we kind of finally realized, like, this doesn't seem like just some random dinosaur TV show that's coming out. And, they told us that it was Camp Cretaceous, and 4 years after that, we were done, and I was crying in the booth. And Rainey's told this story before, but Rainey was the first person to know that, Chaos Theory was coming out and that we were going to get a sequel. And, this was all after we had our wrap party and we thought everything was over and we were all crying and giving our speeches and stuff like that. And then we get called and we're like, hey, do you think that you would want to do another show? And they're like, I was like, what? Um, and then they were like, yeah, so we kind of had something in the works, and we wanted you to come back. And I was like, that's insane. And I think maybe a year after season 5 came out, we started working on Chaos Theory, and that was pretty cool.
Awesome. What about you, Kiersten?
Yeah, I definitely saw Jurassic Park when I was younger and I loved it. I've seen the movies, the live actions over the years, and when I got the audition for Chaos Theory and then found out that I got the role and that there was also disability representation, it just kind of made it even more special, coming from growing up with Jurassic to now being part of the franchise on top of the limb difference representation. So it's been amazing and I love it.
That's awesome. So like the Camp Cretaceous Chaos Theory story has sort of been going for seven seasons now, sort of, and like Paul, you've been a part of it for the whole thing, and Kiersten, you've joined for these last two. What has it been like, sort of coming into a storyline that's been going for that long, especially, telling big, important stories?
Yeah, I watched Camp Cretaceous a couple of times before I started recording for season one, especially just because I really wanted to understand Brooklyn's path and what her past was. And I wanted to carry that with me, even though Brooklyn's different now for obvious reasons. The trauma, just growing up and just being in now a world where she's existing with dinosaurs compared to being on an island, you know?
Mhm.
So I just wanted to understand all of that going into it. So I'd made sure that I really studied. And it's been exciting. It's been really cool. The team, all the cast, Paul, Rainey, Causer, Darren, Sean, everyone's been so welcoming and it's been so much fun. And I felt like I really just settled in pretty quickly, which is nice.
How do you feel about Kenji and Darius' relationship at this point with all they've been through and moving forward?
It's a good question. I feel like since season one of Chaos Theory, we saw a large bit of tension between Darius and Kenji after their falling out. And going into season two, they kind of reforged their bond. And as we go through the storyline of season two, hearing things about, the broker and Brooklyn, and we start to see more of Brooklyn throughout the series, I feel like uh there's still this little bit of distance between the two. Like their relationship isn't exactly where it used to be. Um and we see some moments in between, like in the season where Darius was trying to help Kenji through his trauma, and especially also in season one, when they're in the car. That's one of my favorite scenes, when they're in the car and they have to stop for a moment and they just kind of have to get their bearings and Kenji's having a breakdown. I feel like Darius and Kenji's relationship it's fractured, and it's interesting because they never really seem to have time to fix it because they're always moving. And it's not necessarily something that they're trying to leave behind, but it is getting left behind in a way because of how much they have to focus on. And I really hope that, if we see more of the two, they'll finally have that chance to, grow their bond back to, what it was in Camp Cretaceous.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Kirsten, this is for you, and you just touched on it just a bit, but can you talk to us about the process of auditioning for Brooklyn and the connections for disability representation in your great performances?
Yeah, I auditioned and it took a couple of months before I heard anything, which is similar to Paul's experience. And then I found out that I got a call back essentially. So I went in and I did a little recording session with the team. And then I did one more. And then I found out that I got the role and I was extremely excited. And in terms of disability representation, it's been really collaborative with the entire team. Everyone has been so open and welcome to learning and just finding out, different terminology to use and hearing from me and other people that have consulted for the disability representation aspect of it. And that's been really nice to just be with a team that is so willing to learn and be open, and yeah, they just care so much. And I'm I know I've said this, but I'm so grateful to them for it because it turned out amazing and I'm only hearing great feedback about the disability representation and that means so much to me. So,
Absolutely. And like we love the story and where it's gone surrounding that. It's been fantastic. So the second season is filled with suspense and some unexpected turns. Were there any moments that were particularly challenging to voice just due to the intensity or the nature of the moment?
hmm, I don't know, Paul, anything for you? I
I'm
have to think about this because
Yeah,
Brooklyn went through some some
Right.
things.
Yeah.
I think that I specifically remember actually, Kiersten, this one time when you were in the booth, doing ADR for it was one of the episodes. We did it semi recently, and the only cue was like you had to do like breathing for she was having like or coming off of an anxiety attack. And I remember seeing you do that in the booth, and I could see you getting into character and feeling it and kind of putting yourself in that position. Um, I don't think you really struggled with it at all, but it was just amazing to see you go through that process. And I just thought that it was a struggle for Brooklyn, but but it was amazing to see that and then see it on screen, and I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Thank you. That's so nice of you. Yeah, I feel like I just used my body so much. I don't know if it's because of the vocalist side of me. You use your body a lot when you're performing and singing. But when I was in my sessions, I really tried to use my body, but also because she's going through so much, whether it's the breathing, the screaming, running, whatever it is, there's a lot of action. So, yeah, I just wanted to have that come across as authentically as possible. So I don't know if anything, like Paul was saying, I don't know if anything was particularly difficult. I will say I had a lot of fun with the screams. I mean, you need me to scream some more? I'm here. I'm ready. Yeah.
Scream Queen, right?
Yeah.
So kind of on the flip side of that, were there any moments in season two that were particularly really fun or memorable, in a good way during the recording process?
A couple. I loved all the group recordings that we did. Those were so fun. It was just so cool to see everyone else in their process and to just watch them voice their characters. So I loved that. I mean, what an experience. For me personally, there's an episode where I'm fake crying and then I say like, "What do you expect me to do? I only have one arm." And I kind of, you know, with with Ernest, and I love that. I mean, when I recorded that, I had to make sure not to laugh until I finished the line fully. We were all laughing. That was so much fun, and that was one of the scenes I was really looking forward to seeing the final product of because of how fun it was to film. Oh, not film, record. Yeah.
I think that one of mine was probably I was going back a little while ago and I was looking at the episodes again, and I think my favorite one to record was probably the scene on the boat with Zaina where Darius is like making all of the analogies about the river and the downpour and like getting wet socks and stuff like that. And I remember every time we tried to record that in the booth, it every time I like got through a take, I immediately started laughing after because I was like, the writers did such a good job with this part. Um, and even after every take, I could hear them not even over the intercom, I could hear them laughing through the double-sided glass on the other side of the booth. Just because it was such a funny and, unique scene to have. And I just thought that, in the final product, everything came together so well, like with the animation and the lighting and the facial expressions between everybody and the little moments with like Sammy on the boat looking back at what Darius was talking about. And I just thought that that was hilarious. But yeah, that whole scene was just so much fun.
That's awesome.
That's great. So these next two questions are for you guys. It's more in regards to fan impact. But with the Jurassic franchise being beloved by so many, how do you feel about the impact of your characters have had on both the younger and older fans? And have there been any touching interactions with fans that have stuck with you so far?
I mean, for me, it's been incredible, especially because of the disability representation aspect. I feel like it's really opened up the conversation for not only disability representation in media, but it's opened a lot of kids to the fact that people exist with disabilities, and it gives them the opportunity to see that on screen and then carry that with them in their day to day. And same for adults. So I think there's such a big impact when it comes to Brooklyn's storyline, because we're not only talking about, having a limb difference, but we're also talking about becoming an amputee, because there's two sides of disability representation and multiple more, but in her specific storyline, me being a congenital, I was born with my disability. And then Peter, who is one of the writers, being an acquired amputee. It's been incredible to have both perspectives and to showcase that in any of our press as well, where we've had conversations about it. So I think and I hope that that has an impact on viewers. And I've seen some comments and, kids with disabilities who have touched on how much it means to them, which I love because I didn't have that representation growing up. I never even met someone that looked like me until high school. So it means the world to have that.
I definitely feel like I've seen a lot of the show getting good reception, but from the fans, and I've also gotten a lot of reception with my drawing a blank on the word, but me as Darius. Um, I I especially appreciate those that, reach out to me and say that, I did such a good job portraying, the dino nerd in people. And there have even been, a handful of people that have worked on the production that kind of see themselves in Darius. And I feel so grateful that I was able to, portray a character that could really like touch people in that way and kind of connect with them in a way that maybe they hadn't before. And yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
This one is kind of a funny one, but what do you think of the Dinosaur Liberation Now group? And are you aware that Go Ernest is slowly trending on social media and that there's even a song?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I
it's
need to
trending.
see this. I did not know that.
I didn't hear about this either. That is insane. But I
Where?
will say that the DLN provided some much needed comic relief in this roller coaster of a season because this season was crazy, but all of the moments with the DLN were very much loved, in my opinion.
I fully support what Paul said. I'm still shocked that it's trending and that there's a song.
Yeah,
I
a
need,
song
I
got
need to
made the
see
other
this.
day. I'll send it over. But
Please do.
yeah, it's hilarious and it's something that's been brewing since the release since last weekend, and it's
Oh,
been
wow.
really funny.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I love that.
So, just to close it up here, how excited are you for what's to come in the future in the Chaos Theory story?
Honestly, it's always a toss up, you never know. I think that I'm always excited to see, more dinosaurs animated and more chase scenes and more tension in those scenes. And, I always love getting to see the close-ups of characters and especially the dinosaurs. The dinosaur scenes in this season were absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorites definitely being the Suchomimus moments in Africa and Senegal. Those were mwah. Um, but yeah, I think I'm just excited to see, more interactions with different kinds of dinosaurs, more geographical differences.
Mm.
See what happens. But yeah, honestly, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the future holds. So I'm just living in the moment of season 2 and just loving everyone's, different artwork and all the fans and all the comments and all the love that we're getting is really what I'm focusing on because everyone put in so much effort into this show and I think it shows and I'm just excited that everyone gets to see season 2 now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love the story, and we can't wait to see it continue and see what happens next. We're so excited. So, thank you both again for joining us and chatting this show with us. It's been great, and you both are just such important parts of the story, and your performances are fantastic. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you,
having
guys.
us. It's been fun.
Really, guys, I loved it.
Yeah.